Shalom, shalom. Kahalayim la, Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua, Bahashim Hakodash, Wa Mashana Kabad Laha Zaquanium Shaw, Great Millstone, Shalom, Wa Chasad Laha Bachaya, Shalom. Alright, so all praise to the Most High Bahashim Yahushua. Double honor to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and mercy to the elect. Alright, Shalom. This is an article. It reads, WW3 will be nuclear. It's kind of old, but it's still relevant. It's dated 3 March 2022, you know. It says the warning comes after Moscow placed units equipped with ICBMs on high combat alert. All right. It says the next major conflict between world powers will involve atomic armaments and will be catastrophic for the human race. So it's going to be devastating to the human race. It says Russia's top diplomat has warned amid an escalating standoff with the West over Moscow's military attack on Ukraine, you know, the old boogeyman. You know, it's been a narrative for the last 2 months going into which they throwing out the the Karagma now. But, that was that narrative that they was using. It says Russian state news agency TASS reported on Wednesday that Sergei Lavrov has said in an interview with Al Jazeera that WW3 will be a devastating nuclear war. All right. Just going into, WW3, called Armageddon in the scriptures. All right. And, all these nations are arming up with ICBMs, which this is part of the Lord's army, those glittering spears, the glittering swords. All right. And 2/3 and, these heathen scoff and mock at it. But, you got these people coming out and saying that, hey, this is, it's going to be nuclear, Let's get some precepts. This is, matter of fact, and this was in the, what I typed was the Cold War. And it ended around the 90s. Between, 1985 to the 1990s. That's when the Cold War was, all right? But the thing about the Cold War was that it actually didn't turn into a war, and that's the Cold War is repeating itself this time around, But only thing is, it's not going to just not be anything. It's not going to stop at anything, This is a prophecy that's going to come to pass, and it's going to be nuclear. It's not going to be a standstill. All right. So let's get some precepts. This is actually, I'm going to read this. It says the nuclear arms race was in race competition for supremacy in nuclear warfare between the U.S. and the Soviet Union and their respective allies in the Cold War during this same period. And in addition to the American and Soviet nuclear stockpiles, other countries developed nuclear weapons, though none engaged in warhead production on nearly the same scale as the two superpowers. So back in them days, it was the U.S. and the Soviet Union, but those nations that they wasn't on the same level as the U.S. and the Soviet Union. But the Lord put a spirit on these different nations like Iran and North Korea and stuff. Now they got nukes, just about at that same level, or if not better, But like they said, it was from the Cold War from 1942 to December 8th, 1987. So I was wrong about that, but this was known as the Cold War. All right, so they was building up the ICBMs at that point, but now it said knowledge will be increased. So they got the ones that was weak back then. It says let the weak say that I am strong, roughly paraphrasing. So they got the same nukes, if not better, as America, Babylon the Great, and the Soviet Union. Let me rephrase that. They got almost the same nukes, or if not better, Again, some precepts. This is Jeremiah 50 and 25. It says, the Lord hath opened his armory and hath brought forth the Lord hath opened his armory and hath brought forth the weapons of his indignation. For this is the work of the Lord Yahweh Shem Shah, power of hosts in the land of the Chaldeans. All right, so the Lord opened up his armory, being those ICBMs. All right, which you can get in Joel chapter 3, you know, Ezekiel, the 21st chapter, you know, and various different accounts in the scriptures. But the glittering swords, the glittering spears, you know, the arrows are all referring to, in some parts of the scriptures, talking about the ICBM missiles. It says, and hath brought forth the weapons of his indignation. You know, indignation goes into righteous anger, you know, because the Lord has he has it out for Babylon the Great because her sins have reached up to heaven, you know, through her, you know, so-called Western philosophy, you know, the way of Babylon the Great, you know, having these women thinking that they can just talk to a man any sort of type of way, you know, dress how they want to, hop on the cock carousel, you know, as Elder Malcolm likes to say. And it just got everybody thinking that they can move how they want to, you know, being self-idols, you know, overindulging. They got people messed up in the mind, you know, and that's why the Lord is angry with this place. But it says, for this is the work of the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua, power of hosts. You know, so this is the Lord's movie, you know. The Lord said that he was going to do all his pleasure, and this is part of his pleasure, is bringing them newts, all right? It says of the hosts in the land of the Chaldeans, being America, Babylon the Great, all right? And this is Ezekiel chapter 21, and we're going to start at verse 8. It says, again, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, prophesy and say. All right, so this is Ezekiel back in that time, but the men of the Lord in these days, in that same stead as Ezekiel, you know, the prophets returning there a lot. It says, thus saith the Lord, say a sword is sharpened and also furbished. So a sword is sharpened, you know, and it's being sharpened so that it can be used. You know, it's not just sitting there for show. You know, these ICBMs is not, you're not just coming out and saying, hey, you know, we might use these ICBMs, you know. No, like that's what's planned. You know, you go to Proverbs 21 and 1, you know, the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord, you know, roughly paraphrasing. So the Lord is putting on these kings, these leaders of these different countries, the nation spirit, to make these ICBMs so that they can use them, you know. They all in league right now, but eventually they're going to be used. You know, the Lord's pleasure is going to be done. It says, a sword is sharpened and also furbished. It is sharpened to make a sore slaughter, because it's going to make that sore slaughter. The Lord has a sacrifice in Basra. It says, it is furbished that it may glitter. Should we then make mirth? You know, you got 2/3 making mirth, man. You know, they still worried about when the next J is coming out, you know, oh shit, like Will Smith, you know what I'm saying, he slapped Chris Rock. How does Jada feel? They worry about stuff like that. They worried about folly, you know. They're still in that folly, that they still into that death style. You know, they don't want to come out of that. It says, it contemneth the rod of my son as every tree, and he hath given it to be furbished that it may be handled. This sword is sharpened, and it is furbished to give it into the hand of the slayer. And Esau Edom is that slayer, you know, but this verse can also be applied to, you know, the ICBMs, because that's the weapon that's going to be used against Edom, you know, and those that are attached to Edom, you know, being these heathen 2/3 and the Edomites, you know. But yeah, Lord willing, that was edifying. Call her Layim La, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah, Bashem Kakdash. Shalom.